What's up, hula hands? Welcome back. Hump Day, Johnny.
Oh, yeah. So to be clear, Danny, it's Uncle Johnny, right?
Uncle Johnny.
No, Uncle, Unko. We don't do the CLE in Hawaiian because it's Uncle Johnny or Unks for shorthand, right? And the pidgin vernacular. And I had a difficult time realizing that I was an uncle. And the first experience I had was where I was working at the Hyatt. I did a big sale doing timeshare, like, my 90 days. But then they told me, well, got something, but you really need to learn more skills of getting beat up in this business. You go be an OPC, and that's where you're the carnival barker trying to book the tours. But I had this one location, and there was this lady that sat next to me in another booth. We would talk story, and I would call her auntie. And much later on, I found out that she was questioning why me with my gray hair was calling her auntie, right? I didn't step into that. I am stepping into it now. I'm starting to introduce myself in the water to younger people. Hey, I'm Uncle Johnny. I'm really doing that to get more waves, to some respect. And I had such a great experience yesterday, man. I bought some new outdoor furniture on Marketplace. We had to get rid of the old. We had a couch that was like a living room couch. It's an Apili. When we lifted up the cover that we put over it, it's like mildew. And you could literally see the indention where I've sat on that thing for like 5 years, right? So huck that bug over the railing. Me and Christian did, my son. And then we just put that thing in my truck. After we had it all set up, Christian's like, yeah, Dad, I want to play some video games, but I have to go with you to the dump. And I'm like, I can just back my thing right up. I've done it before. Chance of movers is what I call myself. I actually did straps this time. That's like a big step forward. Right? Didn't want to kill people on the highway. Then I got there. I was following this other truck that had a whole bunch of opala. That's what we call trash. And I was like, oh, bro, these guys go get in front of me to go take my space. I'm going to have to wait. And then sure enough, we get up there and the guy, like, so you pull up at the dump and there's a guy that kind of ignores you for a little while. Then I'll look up and be like, and you're like, I got a couch, a chair, and a palm frond. And he tells me, okay, number 4, put a couch and a chair. Number 5, put a palm frond, right? Sure enough, the Bradas are right there in number 4, but there's 2 parking spots. So I pulled back in there. 4 guys, bro, they dumped their truck out so fast and they were just like laughing the whole time. I was cracking up with them, just listening to them talk about it. They were like, oh, bro, they got wasp nest over there. So anyway, once they were done, they look at Unks and they jumped in the back of my truck and threw all my stuff away. I was like, oh, this uncle status has some weight, man. I'm embracing the double ARP. I'm probably going to get the divider thing for your trunk, right? As a free gift. It's like, that's what I give you for like signing up for the double ARP. So anyway, Uncle Johnny, it is a respect thing in our culture. Like when I was raised and I would go to the mainland to visit my Nana and my grandpa, I would be aghast that people would call her B, young kids, B and Bill. I was like, oh my God, how can you call an adult by their first name? Like that is such a no-no in Hawaii, right? And that's our respect level, right? That's our kupuna that we raise up in our culture, right? You are the holder of the secrets of the past and you can teach me things that need to be taught. And so that's just how I was raised. Like I was never allowed to call an adult by their direct first name. They're always auntie and uncle. So that's where it all comes from. I love it. Taught my kids about it and I'm leaning into it, man. I'm starting to ask guys in the water, hey, can uncle have this wave? Let's go.
It's pretty wild. It's similar over here in Asia, but then when I go
Right.
back to the mainland and back to Minnesota, if I'm hanging out with my friends' kids and stuff, it's always, this is Mr. Daniel. Do you remember our friend Mr. Daniel? And I'm like, this feels weird. It feels like I lost my status.
Right. It's community, right? It makes us all a family and it puts us all in that kind of
Mr.
thinking,
feels like I'm a teacher. I got
right?
put to like teacher status now. I'm not the cool uncle or the fun guy or part of the family.
What was the always the retort? Oh, Mr. is my dad or something like that, right? Isn't that what you always say? So anyway, good fun over here. Another thing that I was reading about that I'm excited about is we have, I think it's 8 different historical buildings throughout Lahaina that got hurt in the fire. Baldwin House. There's the court that's right across from where you go to get on the boats at the harbor. One of them, kind of the wall collapsed. Anyway, 8 of them, total $40 million to rehab all 8 of them. And they're up to 32 million. So are we going to wait until we're at 40 and then we're going to start the project? Or why would we just start leaning in, fix one, keep going, get people excited. I'll give to the next one, right? Because it's all donations, and I forget the nonprofit that's doing it. We have the Lahaina Restoration Foundation. What's interesting is I surf shark pit every summer. That's the only place I surf, basically, in the summertime. That and the Peely Bay if it gets really big and comes all the way up here. The lot right next to the path, the beach access path that takes you there, is owned by Lahaina Restoration Foundation. I'm crossing that lot acting like I own it instead of going down the path. I was just at a wedding there for our friends that live in Shark Pit, right? They're rebuilding their house there. They're clients of ours as well, times two. They've been inviting me over to both places because they rehabbed a Wailuku house that we sold them and I haven't seen the work on. And sadly, the Lahaina house is almost done and I haven't even seen the work on the other one. And it was crazy today as I was surfing and this guy, I seen him and I was like, oh, right, he looks kind of familiar. And then he asked me, he goes, hey, does Josh like the place? And I was like, oh my God, that's the guy that was the seller for the Kahana Ridge deal. And so anyway, yeah, there you go. So I was talking story with him. I was like, damn, how was your travels? Because he bought a boat somewhere in like the Maldives and he was just going to go cruise them. And so anyway, small island kind of things,
Well, and
I
then
just
the
love it.
person that's in charge of this project, the 32 out of the 40 million, that name is familiar because they're related to your friends
The
at Shark
kind.
Pit.
That's right. Yep. So maybe that's who I start talking with is, A and K in the lineup who were out surfing today. Maybe I'd be like, hey, what's your mom say about this, boo? I'm all calling them Mr. and Mrs. So they love it. They are a couple goals, bro. I watched him teach her how to surf like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, she's out on bombing days at like the cave at Honolulu, and I don't even surf Honolulu anymore. And then they'll catch waves together a lot. I'm like, dang, man, that's a couple goals. I try to
How
teach my
fun is
wife
that?
to surf in like literally half a foot surf, and then trying to get her out of the water turned into such a nightmare. Her tears, my ankle, my shins just bleeding. And I was like, my goodness, I take so much for granted in this sport here. It really is dangerous for a
Especially
layman.
in Hawaii.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my rant for the day, little Vala'au about what's going on over here. I'm not tearing up so much as I drive through Front Street, but that is my habit now. I've got my own little cool parking spot for surfing Shark Pit. The truck's always facing forward, so you can get your getaway plan, right? And I've been cruising that one the whole way. Yesterday, man, I was cruising, coming back from the dump, and right at Keawe, bunch of like emergency vehicles were hitting like the lower road in front of guardrails. I had to get over for like the fire battalion chief, and then after that was a big fire truck, and then was a big ambulance. And then when I got there, like Keawe was just like bubblegum things everywhere. The cops. I whipped around real quick and I dipped down that side road that goes along Kahoma on the Wailuku side of it. And I just dipped and stayed on it and got out, Fleming Road, I guess, technically. And that's how I went home. But I didn't hear if anybody was hurt, but it looked really, really big. And that's just a debacle there, man. This bypass I'm like, we're still in Lahaina. What are we bypassing here? That weird road that the tourists don't understand that only goes up Keawe, that has caused chaos and angry words because the tourists are like, I don't know if I can turn around there, so I'm not going to try to cut in here. And so, yeah, and it was funny because like where IGD is and the local fried chicken / gas station, Aloha Mart, right? The guys after the fire from Oahu came over. They were like, oh my God, this is a debacle. And they put a temporary light that remains there. But if you've been to Maui, you know what I'm talking about. Walgreens and that whole trying to get across there is just people get tense and then all of a sudden they're just going to go. It's dumb. So now we're discussing where it's going to come down for the next leg. Are they going to allow it come down Pukoali'i on true, Kaanapali Hillside, or is it going to go to coffee farms, which many people seem to prefer? Kind of be a bummer because a lot of guys go and bomb that hill on skateboards up by coffee farms. And then my kids used to partay up there. They have now fessed up later on in life.
So it could be good
Yeah. I
for
was like,
some parties.
stargazing. Yeah,
Not so good
stargazing.
for other
Yeah,
parties.
we're stargazing at Poli Poli or stargazing up at coffee farms. That was their code. So Hot List, what we got or what do you got going on, Danny? We were talking about commissions too, yeah?
That's an interesting one. We've talked for
Some
a
tea
while on
leaves.
that. There was, a couple of years ago, things changed in the commission world where it was no longer a number that we knew up
Right.
front on the MLS. It used to be there was a co-broke offered on the MLS, whatever, 2%, 2.5%, 3%, whatever they were offering. Now that number is only distributed
Ambiguous.
via email, but it is a lot more ambiguous and always changing. And there's a wide range. A lot of people have thought, oh, commissions are going to come down, realtors are overpaid. This was a lot of the conversation around when this was happening. I've been seeing the opposite, man.
Well, you were telling me like somebody kind of took their head off with a 5% for a sell agent. I'm like, well, you went to like a KW or Real, like rah-rah festival, didn't you? Where they tell you to do this sales crap.
I'm seeing more threes in the numbers than I've ever seen in my career.
Hmm.
Almost 10 years in real estate now. I've seen more threes than ever before. I'm seeing some fives, some fours. I'm also seeing some smaller numbers on occasion as well. There is more negotiation that's happening in this process.
This to me is tea leaves. We have a co-listing opportunity with a condo and we're representing the seller. And I have a relationship with the buy side. Our seller was like, we're paying 2%. And, the thing with buyers agents, especially if they're on a team, is you don't know how much money they have to kick down to their principal, the owner, right? There's splits. And we have a split with Real as well, but then we cap at a certain point and then we run without paying them until our anniversary comes up. So that's how that works. You and I split our commissions as well. And, much to your chagrin, you learned the hard way working with me that when I transitioned from new home sales I just jumped right into the REO bandwagon, which was bank-owned homes in Arizona, right? So on the bank-owned side, like sellers would just run you, the banks. Like I worked with Chase, I worked with Fannie Mae, I worked with Wells Fargo, PennyMac, all of them. Some stuff you're getting like 1.5 and you're paying 2.5 to the other side. And that's just how it was because they're giving you volume. But for me, when I was doing the foreclosures, my mentors, they actually taught me their business and then they bounced to do HUD foreclosures, which are a real specialty in Dallas. And this is still Arizona, still ground zero, Vegas, all that's happening. They taught me, John, your commission is also a tool for your negotiations. And that's just how he's always rolled. That's where sometimes for me, like on working with you as a buyer, sure, you can grind me down. I'm willing to go down, but like because I'm using that, like you take away a bullet from me when you grind me down too much, because that's how I approach doing real estate is everything is up for commissions. And I can't tell you, I feel it's powerful when I show up that way and people go, wait, aren't you a greedy realtor? I literally just get off on doing deals. I need money. Everybody needs. My baby's got to eat. My wife needs stuff, But I think that it's powerful because it kind of is so anti what they think about greedy salespeople. And I'm like, well, I'm here to make a deal because I can do math. I could have my morals and stick to 3% and then have zero because my morals are so high, or I could actually do a deal. And that's how I approach it in my head. That's easy math, right?
We don't
Yeah.
want that to get in the way of someone potentially getting what they want. We were $10,000 apart on a deal back in the early part of the year, and we had offered commission to make that deal happen. It wasn't accepted, but it would have bridged the gap and potentially closed the deal in a way that it wouldn't have otherwise, because the other side was very staunch. The seller was very staunch. The listing agents were very firm in their position. So sometimes it's what makes it happen. When it comes down to J1 home inspection negotiations, the mini things, the small things tend to get in the way. So a couple $100 here and there to fix something that one side or the other is like, I'm no way fixing that.
Right. We see that happen all the time over the silliest, smallest item that somebody's going to die on a cross for and then just blow up the deal potentially, right? Because they're so stubborn, they feel like they have to win. And the script for that is, well, so, hey, Danny, you told me that you wanted a condo with a view of the ocean, and a TVR, and needed to be vacation rented, need to make money, right? Are we achieving that here? And yes. Okay, well, great. So is it worthwhile to negotiate hard on this one item, or, how do you see it? And then typically they're like, oh, okay, dude, yeah.
It's always the GFCIs.
Yep. It every single time. And guess what you're not going to do, Mr. Buyer, that you're freaking out about it? You're not going to fix it. You see it time and time again. Because in Maui, a lot of times you're going to become the selling agent when they go ahead and sell it because they don't want to interview again. And if you did a good enough job and you stayed in touch with them, you earned it, right? So that's where we get to see, like with a big patio that's not attached to the house in Haiku. Three
Over and
different
over
people
again.
never
Things that
fixed it, but
concerned
negotiated.
You want the money for, but you don't. And back along the lines of commissions, with the new rules that were put in place a couple summers ago, everyone has to have a buyer brokerage agreement when they're showing
Yes.
properties with a client. Hey, this is our permission slip to show you property. And there's also an agreed upon commission that will be paid to me, most likely by the seller.
Right. I
Sometimes
do
there
my
might be a
best to
split.
negotiate on your behalf. Yes.
And we're seeing a lot more where agents are like, I'm worth this and you're going to pay the difference. So add that on top of your purchase cost. So you got an extra percent to the agent that you're working with. And then I'm seeing some as a brokerage wide, they mandate all their agents for a certain percentage in
Now,
our
isn't
market.
that how we got in trouble in the first place, though? It was all to me was about linguistics with NAR. And I'm going to say it, NAR, you suck. You take my money and you did nothing. You folded like a lawn chair over some kooky linguistics. And now you've completely flipped it back to the old days where everybody just represented the seller and there was no buyer representation. That's how I interpret this whole thing here. Now, what's interesting, though, is we're also now negotiating on the buy side. And we have got a counteroffer that said that they were willing to pay us only X amount. And so you and I, we don't let that get in the way of the actual negotiation. However, I told myself, look, it's not my choice. This is my buyer's choice. And if my buyer says, John, could you go in and do this? Then that's going to be my fiduciary responsibility, which is obedience to follow that. And that's what we're doing. We're writing in a way where it's just like, hey, Mr. Seller Agent, you need to fess up what you're getting paid from the seller. And then you could add that 2% to that. And we're just going to split that down the middle and we'll see what happens there. However, we did not jump in and tell our buyer, hey, dude, we need more money and you need to do that because, again, we work alongside people. I don't sell off the INA because I represent a seller who owns some INA. And then they tell me, John, market this for me. And then I do a good job. And then I'm able to bring them offers and they look at them and they say, John, I want this one. Can you get us through all the transaction pieces? And that's what we do alongside somebody.
There's different situations as well. In this
That's right.
particular case, the sellers are losing almost $200,000 on this deal from what they paid for it. Offering a lower commission might be the only thing that they can feel comfortable with because they want to save and try to pinch as much as they possibly can. In other situations where maybe they did very well and there's a lot of room, 3, 4, 500,000, maybe $1 million, then we'll offer 3, 4%, no big deal. Maybe a couple of the sellers that are doing 5%. By the way, all these 5% deals that I've seen, they're all with local families.
Yeah, that's kind of makes me feel not so good.
And local
Tommy,
agents.
I've seen it time and time again where it's like, oh, here's what you do. You give them a menu and it can be all the way up to 7%. I'm like, that's exactly why people look at us on the same level as like really, really bad pastors and used car salespeople, right? It's like you were just there. Like I smell the commission on your mouth and I don't dig it, man. I don't know.
But the other side of it is a choice and a negotiation. If someone agreed to 5%, they agreed to 5%.
I think sometimes there's some ignorance there because I don't know why you would just say, yeah, my understanding is my friend paid this, but I'm almost willing to double it. So that's my perspective. But to be clear, I'm not seeing that. Let's talk about another thing that I like to taunt my sister, the attorney, about, right? Is we don't get paid for failure. And we sometimes blow up our own deals by telling our client, my advice to you is to run away from this dog. And we are within a contingency period and let's bounce. And I get an attaboy and a little pat on the butt. Thank you so much, John. And I go and eat air and Danny gets half of that air. And that's how the thing works, right?
I got no air over here.
That's it. So, all right. Now
That
that's
is how it
double
works.
rant. Double rant. But this is the tea leaves we're seeing here. Guys, I've said it time and time again. My feeling right now is that buyers are worth more than sellers. We are not going to see generous sellers in competitive markets because of this commission split. I'm almost 99% sure that in a hyper competitive market, we'll see it happen again, like the Great Recession market prior to it and the COVID market, is that will now be another tool to negotiate. I will pay my agent. You don't have to pay them. And I'll waive the inspection period and all the contingencies. And I'll just close my eyes and hope. And I'm also going to pay you 10 to 15% above your list price. Are we got a deal here? That is what it's going to look like.
That will come back around one day and we will be having this conversation then. But for now, be prepared that it is coming at some point.
Those who don't study history are doomed to repeat it.
There it is, exactly. Little other coconut wireless, Johnny. We have some thoughts swirling that condos in Wailea, at least one in particular, Wailea Banyans, may be on the list of the next grouping to be sent to H3, H4 zone.
I was aghast at how few options were going to be in Ma'alaia, and it is so well loved by a certain group of people. I mean, it literally is, I don't go anywhere else, right? So to just stuff the leaseholds in there, there's already and always has been two opportunities for residential there. There's the Mermaid, and then there's Ma'alaia Yacht Marina, right? Which is also leasehold. So there's always been plenty of opportunity there. It's going to be interesting because Peter Martin went in and completely outbid County of Maui for a big piece of land across from there. So there's going to be development. And it's super funny to see him using goats to keep the grass down because he doesn't want to be faulted for potential fires, right? Wow, I'm rambling today, man. I feel so much energy these days, man. I only got 3 hours of sleep last night because of jet lag and because I knew the waves would be bigger today. That is Christmas for Johnny. Like,
Is
just
that
can't
also
go to sleep.
uncle status? Sleeping very little, waking up so early? I think it's part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I like 4 o'clock, but 3:30 is a little rough for me. But I was just like, okay, you're just laying here in bed, so just go get the coffee, take the puppy out, get into your routine, have your morning meditations, and talk with your Lord and all that good stuff, right? And then get out there and go surf and hang out with the boys and talk story with Corey and bro. Like, you know what's so cool though is I surf with this guy that is a retired PT and he is demanding that I get my MRI from the hospital so that he could read it for me. That's the relationships you build in the water with these people, man. I got an electrician, I got a solar dude, I've got a plumber, all that I serve.
Got a sailing team, sailing charters,
I got clients.
firemen.
I write off my surf stuff because I literally get business in the water there. And it's an absolute marketing tool.
Relationships. So what we're about around here. Maui Hot List Houlihan 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Johnny, last Friday's video went off. I think we're almost
Poppin',
at
dude.
3,000 views. We leaned into some of the controversial topics and news stories on the island right now. Going back to uncle status, I mean, there's some sad violence against a few uncles on island, but that struck a nerve with people. Our intention is to put out transparent conversation between the two of us, bringing you into Maui real estate and some of the events that impact Maui, living here, having a life here, enjoying here. What does it impact your vacation rentals as well? We do this 3 days a week. Come hang out with us, subscribe, share it with your friends, comment, be a part of the conversation. And if you want us to cover anything specifically, you can always drop that in the comments below. But with that, we jump in the hot list.
We go.
This is the part of the show. We look at actives, pendings, and solds, not necessarily to show off each individual listing, but to give you a basis of knowledge and share with you some insights into neighborhoods, strategies, and the likes.
That's
How
the
about this
life
view?
right there, bro. So the old McKenna Surf, like it used to be a resort. And then now this is all part of Discovery Maui's thing down there. If I remember correctly, it was. I swear, like it used to have a killer buffet too, parfait, and just gorgeous. But look at the square footage, right? A little bigger than most, 1,600. Why they couldn't get a third bedroom into 1,600 feet, I'll never know. But that is great square footage. 4 milli. I mean, they've come down some. How much have they come down? 100, 200 grand-ish, somewhere in
200
there.
grand. Not a lot.
Yeah, no. And, I remember when I was told that these produce big numbers, but compared to the entry price, not as impressive as I thought. Like big numbers for me for something like this is like, does it make $500,000 a year? That would impress me.
That would definitely impress. So maybe not too anxious to sell this thing with their 200,000 down in 260 days, but this you're paying for the location, aren't you, in McKenna?
McKenna means abundance, and that's where all the Billies live. That's where the rock stars or a rock star lives. And it's because it is slightly Fortress of Solitude lifestyle as you leave Wailea and you get out to these $20 million compounds that are across the street from the ocean. So well placed. Yeah, it's calm vibes. But then boom, 10 minutes, you're back in Wailea. You're eating at Lineage, you're in Chris, the last one on the island, Tommy Bahama. You're buying Gucci stuff for your girl, and that's the world. Coast, K-O-A-S-T.
Think it's a little crazy that HOA fees are only $2,600 a month for a $4 million property.
Is pretty nuts, dude.
What you see at other complexes, Mahana's crazy. When you look at Montage, some of those, you're $7,000, $8,000 a month. This feels reasonable. And I know that sounds crazy and ludicrous, probably. I've seen a few comments that someone was like, 2,800 a month in HOA fees, what? But this is Maui, and what we are talking, it's about the context of Maui. We're not comparing
Indeed.
it to the mainland or California or Minnesota or Kansas. We are talking about Maui in relation to other parts of Maui.
I swear I've seen this thing before. Yes. Kaimanu Estates. This is that cool one section at the very top of Maui Meadows. So this is 2 acres. I've seen one up there in the maybe 2021-ish that went for 20 or something like that, or 18. Went for big money. And then there was one that I showed that was just the weirdest rambling house, but it was also part of that. So there's your location play if you were into a very, very big project. But man, so we're looking at 4,718 feet in a gorgeous gated portion of the Rebel Maui Meadows. And this thing was done in 90 with an incredible remodel in 2025. But here we are 250 days in, tried to go very aspirational at 7 milli and just not seeing it. What say you about this? I mean, the 2 acres is a big deal. I don't know how stunning the views are.
I didn't really see any photos of views.
And then you've got them. That's why they're selling, in my opinion. Somebody looks like they're about to build.
Something going to go on next door.
Mm-hmm. And
That's
wealthy
probably
people can't stand that. If they were smart, they would have bought it. And we see that happen time and time again. They will literally buy a lot. That was part of the conversation. We were showing some very, very awesome clients of ours that, literally like they were our biggest deal ever. And now they are quickly in upgrade mode. And I was out looking at stuff in, Kahana for, I think it was like 12 milli. But it's so interesting, Danny, how so many of these high end complexes I think about, or homes, I also think about one that's beautiful in Oluwalu. You don't own the actual ocean front. So that was the turnoff
what?
for them, is like there was this sliver of the ocean front. And so there was these trees, but you could not trim said trees because you did not own that portion. And then the Oluwalu one had like, state land, but then there was this weird little finger and you had an easement, perpetual easement. But in the world of ownership, like if you're worth that kind of money, you're like, dude, I want to own the whole thing, bro. So
Trip out. This one down $1 million in 250 days. I'm thinking about it in comparison to the other big dog that's listed up here. Much smaller square footage. That was 5 million. This has got the 2 acres. Not really any views here.
tough to price these dudes. It
It really is.
really, really is, man, because they just don't sell a whole lot. You don't have a lot of comparables, and your comparables are Maui Meadows, which is, what, $1 million up to maybe 4 or 5 sometimes, right? So
Bigger
yeah,
compound like this, gated
welcome,
inside that community is strange.
Pukamana Ocean Front coming down from 2.7, 1560 square feet. This is a bit of a value, dude, because these were pushing 4 to 5 million. I remember when my buddy Brian was looking, and this was where he wanted. I am going to send him this one. I am. I'm going to say,
Amazing. Look at this view.
get your crispy cone money and let's go. Let's get you back here, Bubba. Send this to me, Danny. Text it to me, please. Like later on, okay?
Been trying to sell for a little while, but yeah, these were
Yeah.
going wild before.
Or at least the asking prices were. Could we agree? Now, the
Yes.
interesting thing about Puamana is I have seen time and time again where people have added on to their condos out and up. Ponana Street, so we're in Kihei, Keavakapu views.
This is the
I
one up
think
on the
we've
hill.
chopped this one here. This was becoming more and more of a value. This I see easily going sub 2 million with a cash offer and a quick close.
For sure. They're holding out for someone to come by and sweep it up, and so far no one's doing that.
2018 build, dude, that's fairly new construction for Maui. So Lanakila, we're in Kihei. We're back in your old neck of the woods.
Right across the street.
There it is.
Came
Million
out at
three.
1495, down 200,000, 170 days.
With an Ohana, Danny, I remember when like Halepi'ilani and all those were going for even more, yeah?
They were. This market is taking a
Bananas.
nosedive.
I was telling a fellow agent, like people just can't stand the thought of Maui real estate. That's when you know you're at the bottom or bottoming. I feel like that's happening. I said it. We'll
Shoulder
delete
shrugs. That's
we'll
about it.
delete it. Brah. These guys are gonna drip. They're like, okay, we'll drip. We'll take 5,000 off just to put it on the hot list.
The, an interesting
72
one
days.
because we've seen a bunch of these that are potentially going apartment zoned.
Hmm.
in the 450 range, and then these guys are at 550s. So
What's it look like inside though? Decent, a la 2006-ish. Those are very plain cabinets. They just slapped on some new stuff. Has my favorite tile, but 600 feet for a one bedroom, one bath? Not horrible.
it's about Maui. What I've never liked about these is these steps to the linnet.
They have a lot of weirdness there. This is the one we've talked about where if you are on a back unit, mountain view only, like literally your lanai opens into the shrubs. Why would you even give me that type of access? Do you want me to help with the landscaping? Is that part of my fees?
There's your
Another
pool
pool in a parking lot.
in the parking lot.
I thought it was kind of a vibey mid-century type building, but it's aging. And guess what's going to happen is at some point they're going to completely do the spalling and all of that. So expect that to happen. It'll look great for a while again.
At some point in the future.
Indeed. Palms. 2-2. 1 day. So fresh.
Super fresh. Nice
Cute.
remodel. Clean,
Brah.
modern.
I like that accent kind of wallpapery thing there with the bird of paradise. That was neat. Oh, brah, Murphy bed action too. Now it's a 3 bedroom. Office. This
Second
one's cherry.
home.
So is it Wailea Palms? It's always been residential, and then Palms at Wailea, you can vacation rent.
Correct.
Yeah, there's our case in point. Stuff that is apartment zoned is always going to have value on Maui based off of location and views, right? Fact that Minatoya stuff's going away doesn't mean that everything's going to come crashing down.
It's kind of your 2-2 price threshold for these
Mm.
sorts of luxury residential. About $1.5 million.
Great square footage, though. Can we agree? Not your typical 700 to 900 feet. We're looking at 1,200 plus. What do you like or not like about these, Danny? They're concrete building, kind of like Florida type architecture for me is what I think.
Yeah, the construction is super solid. Very,
That's
very
what
well
it is, huh?
built.
Yeah.
It is a quiet community. The access into Wailea really easy without necessarily being in or right next to the shops. What I don't like is the stairs. You got stairs to the units. You got stairs inside the units. I've also showed these a lot. Here's my continued theme. I've showed these a lot over the years, and not one person has wrote an offer at this property or Palms of Wailea.
When I'm looking at this price range, I'm thinking about that one at Kikavakapu Views that had the nice pool and built in 2018 for just a few $100,000 more. I know I'm spending somebody else's money, but that's where my head goes. It's like, well, if you could bump yourself 200 or 300 grand, you could get a house. And guess what you'll save on is the 1,600 bucks a month, right? So that's 18 grand you're not going to have to give out. I'm sure Kikavakapu Views has some HOA in there. You want it, but not 1,600.
Yeah, and this pool, look at that. Amenities are nice at the Palms, that's for sure.
And there's the benefit to condo living as well. Amenities and then shared maintenance. Kihei Beach, Danny, what say you?
Ground floor, beautiful location.
Mm-hmm.
Nicely down on the remodel, hotel zone.
Almost 2K for the fees. And where am I?
You're right
I'm right
across from
next
Sugar
to
Beach Bake Shop.
Sugar Beach. There we are, Bubba. I can't go in there because it always looks so dang busy and I don't know where to park. I throw my hands up and I go to Pau Bakery or Momona. But looks so good. All the different malasadas, and they have savory pastries, which for me are like a secret. Ooh, I like them. Anybody in Australia, please send me a meat pie or something or other. I want to taste your goodness.
There you go. Bro, there's a new Kiwi bakery, New Zealand style meat pie bakery on Oahu you got to check out when you're over there this week.
Okay, I'm gonna
Look it
go.
up.
I'm going on the 14th to help the boy move and go hit
Go
some
add it to
spots
your
with him.
foodie list.
That's it.
So 1-3 on the oceanfront, hotel zoned. This one put a 1-day coming soon on this, Johnny. We visited that a while back about coming soon being a reality in our market now, up to 30 days. We could never do that before. Some of this is the competition with Compass, which, side note, there is another MLS that's starting, or Realtor Association that's competing with NAR. So that'll be interesting to see what plays out. But back to this one, we'll see. Coming soon for a day, didn't do much. It feels like if you're going to play that card, you're going to do it for like a week or 10 days.
I was watching how Compass does it in California with my aunt. And for me, the strategy there is if you really are adamant about being aspirational, let's prove it. And that's how I use my coming soon. 2.65 for a 1-bedroom, 2-bath at the Elite in the Wayback Machine. I'm not seeing it.
$2,800 a month. Yeah, Another one that's loved by a lot of people, and I haven't had anyone interested over the years.
Me too.
Ooh, residential in Wailea. Here we go.
MYM. Here we just spoke about it. A well-loved property manager there too, man. They talk about that guy a lot. Rocky or some brought his name.
285, 615 a month in your AOAO dues, another 673 in your lease fee, so 1,200 a month. Goes to 2079, Johnny.
Wow.
I will not live to see those days even, I think.
We sold ours for like what, 4 and change
400 and something,
for our
yeah.
client? Wowza. Most secure elevator on Maui.
The code to get into that guy.
Yep.
Fascinating. So very private, secure, great location. I love
Mhm.
Wailea.
You do. Wow. Some architectural vibes right there up here in Upcountry.
Okay, yeah.
4.4. How many acres am I? 2. I have been CPR'd. I know that because of the 1 at the very end of those numbers, the TMK. Wow. Look at these grounds though, Danny. This is an architectural important property on Maui for an architect that maybe not a lot of people have heard of. Guarantee it though.
Masterpiece.
Mm.
That was an age, wasn't it? In
Get your
85.
toothbrush out if you're a little, retentive. Look at those views, bro. Oh my God. Wow. Hey, get your fitness. This is cooler vibes,
Got the
bro. Oh my goodness.
Jacaranda.
So what is it? Do they name who? There it is. John Cahill
John
of
Cahill
Cahill Construction, boat builder.
was the builder. All kinds of things going
1980s.
on
Wood
here.
of this caliber was rare, and something about the Canadian government.
Western cedar wood.
So we had a cedar house in Molokai, and termites can't stand them. And I'll tell you what, it smells glorious when you come back from vacation and open your house up. It smells like a sauna, right?
There it is. So 2 acres,
Wow.
4.4 million. Someone's gonna fall in love with that
That is an
location, that
important,
view.
important piece of real estate right there.
Stunning. And then Parkside coming out. 1 bedroom for
Just playing
480.
games again.
5 upstairs. I mean, we got 2 bedrooms. We got 3 bedrooms being offered for less than this.
We go try.
I don't even know.
We go try, Dad. Sounds
Yeah.
good. Sign right here. I'll take your listing. My strategy is to try to convince you to lower the price as we go along. Honua Kai. Whoa. So just view of the backside there. I mean, we're priced for the studios on the other side of the building there with a great deal.
You get a studio on the other side with an amazing view at a great deal, or you can get a mountain view for $1.2 million. You make the choice. That's Honua Kai. Disneyland on the west side.
Actively changing out all the ACs, was told no special assessment necesito. So there you have it. Already how many years in? 2008. So yeah, that would make sense. Brah, this
20
one
years
is
in.
slightly tantalizing just because Maui Eldorado is its own little vibe.
Little studio at the El Dorado.
That thing is pristine in its original, maybe an update in the 80s, kind of looked like to me.
It's got all the amenities, the gym, shuffleboard, the cabana at the beach.
Golf cart guys that take you down to said cabana, so you no need walk.
$1,000 a month in your fees, another $400 in your lease.
And 10% of the fee, so you have a seat at the table when the lease is discussed again. So this is like kind of up above, maybe a little more Kapalua side of Kahana Sunset in that one little neighborhood there, right? DJ sold his for similar money, I want to say. I kind of saw some Ohana action in here somewhere.
$1.7 million? We'll see.
Indeed.
The Ocean Villas almost
Great
down to $1 million, Johnny.
Great neighborhood, bro.
1.415 for so long. Nice remodel. $1.1 million. If you're looking for that second home, lock and leave, maybe a retirement, this is a spot to seriously consider.
Garage, Danny?
They do have garages.
Ah, there it is, guys. This is lock and leave. If you stayed at the Maui Banyan, or you like the neighborhood Moana Estates,
some of them have garages. Let me clarify that.
Okay, garage number 111. We got it though.
There you go.
This one comes. Bingo bango, pickle mango. Sounds like a realtor needs some money because they're not selling houses back home.
$1.1 million. Boom.
There's the pain. And here we are, same hood. 1 bedroom, 2 bath. Brah. A lot of accent walls, but they're going for that sandy and beachy look all at once, right?
Feels like a Florida condo.
Mm-hmm. $952 is not going to break the bank in the world of Maui maintenance fees. I'm going to say proceed market-ish.
Deep market, ground floor, H
H
building,
building. What am I
right
looking
by
at?
the
Am I
office.
G's back and then I'm back this way, or am I more forward? Back, yeah.
You're right at the office in the middle, but you're in the backside looking onto the conservation land.
Oh my
Couple
God,
tenders
sorry.
at Wailea Terrace
Yeah, brutal,
coming down.
brutal.
Nobody
Somebody wanted to
mentioned this
dump this
market.
one. They didn't want to clean up the clutter for the photos. I think that did something there. Remember, one comp does not make the market. So don't worry, Mom, and the other friends that I've sold at Wailea Terrace. You don't lose the money until you sell. You've lost some equity in the current market that is just made up until you sell, just like the stock market, right? So
This
don't
one
get
feels like good
twitchy.
value.
It does. And that's why it went 5 days. Look at
Nice
those
remodel,
calves.
550, got the yard space.
This feels like a second home, and somebody's like, yeah, I'm done with Maui. I'm going to move on to my next stream.
Makali'i.
Makali'i. Look at the view right there, cuz.
These are still turning.
Oh, that's a 3 bedroom, 3 bath version. They have like a weird kind of casita on some of these, even though they're condos.
Yep.
Yep.
3 bath casita floor plan, 1,800 square foot garage.
Architectural distinction and fully furnished. Yes, you get those pendulum, coney, cool vibe light thingies.
There you
Oh,
go.
look at the backsplash.
Dream moved on from outfitted this whole thing, super luxe. So you got your residential luxury and then your high-end residential luxury condos. This is your high-end.
Okay. See,
Terrace.
one comp does not make the market, right?
Oh, that first one was pretty rough. This one
It
is middle of
was.
the road.
It
If you had
is.
something a bit nicer, remodel with the view, you're still pushing 600 plus.
So here's my theory on Holea Terrace, right? Same builder, always the same time. As they exit, want to hand it off to the AOAO. The AOAO does all their inspections. They're like, wait a minute, Mr. Developer, you need to fix this stuff. And then they fight over it, and you can't get good financing. And anytime you cannot get liquidity, just like in the stock market, prices drift as you do funky financing, etc. That has been settled. And I go over to Mom's all the time. It's starting to look great with the fixing that they're doing outside. There's a lot of activity, but it's looking great. So I still love the neighborhood. I'm still a fan of all of it. Elua, 3 milli. How about you take my 2.75 instead? Dunzo. Is it a loan? Nope. Cashish.
Nice view. Off you go.
Oh,
Maui Kai. This one's
okay.
630.
Are you part of this one, Danny boy?
I was, yeah.
I
Alone
like
on
I
this
like
guy.
the furniture, bro. Nice. I like that bed.
Did a
Little
good job on this.
plantation
Moving
feel.
on to a new dream. Needed the money.
Ambo. And the
World
RK.
Hana Studio.
Whoa! Write the
400.
offer.
Take it for
Write the
215.
offer.
To be
Write
fair,
the offer.
it
Yes.
was a bank owned and there's no appliances.
REO, yes. What does REO mean, Danny? Real estate owned. There are foreclosures at the courthouse steps. When the bank doesn't agree to take whatever offers are presented there, they take it, and now it's called REO, real estate owned by the bank, or bank owned for normal gibberishies.
Someone got a deal on that. Last but not least.
Papalani Estates, big fan. Is this off market sale?
Doesn't say, but it feels like it is because
It
there's
sure
no
does.
information and it's the same.
Yep. It's one of those
Dual
complexes
agency.
or neighborhoods where they all look the same, but I want to say that your fees pay for upkeep outside for sure. You don't have to do your own yard, all that kind of stuff. If you like water sports, you just pop out your gate and head down to Esterns and get your wingy, kitey, foily thing and have a wonderful day.
We go, Johnny. Be on the
Let's
lookout
do it.
tomorrow. Deal of the week. We're going sub 100,000 for a Maui condo. What?
On the west side? Is it the west side? Is it where
West
is it?
side.
Not Harbor Lights, Danny?
Not Harbor Lights.
Shout
Be on
out
the
to
lookout for
Harbor
that.
Lights. We got love
Otherwise,
for
we're here
Harbor
Monday,
Lights.
Wednesday, Friday. Come hang out with us. A little bit longer episode today for those of you that love the full kit and caboodle. Hui ho.
Hooey's.